Hello, my name is Sophia Davis, and the element of personal peace that I chose is rest. So I chose rest as my topic because it's something that, I know that I need to do more. Um, and I think it's really relevant and important in today's world where a lot of us are feeling a lot of overload and overwhelm and burnout. Um, Also, one of the interesting things about it is that there's actually a lot of science for why um, we're feeling a lot more effects from stress, like from the chronic stress, including like different health conditions. So, if we were to prioritize rest more in our society, it would also have greater health benefits for all of society in general. But yeah, so rest may actually be the answer for a lot of problems because I believe that rest is an essential foundational aspect for lasting personal peace. So, as an element, without rest, it's really difficult to have a lot of the other elements of personal peace. So, one of the reasons for why it's important to rest is because it's very important for your physical health. So, in addition to some of these things I listed here, like the muscle tension and fatigue and heart rate and blood pressure and the immune system, there's actually kind of a deeper reason for why all these things happen. There is an interesting article by Crosswell et al. About the effects that rest or contemplative practices such as meditation and yoga have on our parasympathetic nervous system, and thus putting us into a state of deep rest that results in cellular optimization. So, one of the things that they found is that when you're doing sort of restful practices like meditation or yoga, then your breathing slows down, and this puts your body into parasympathetic dominance. So, your parasympathetic nervous system takes over. This is the one, it's the opposite of the fight and flight. This one is the rest and digest part. And so when you're in this state, it actually helps, it makes your body know that it is at rest. And so it can focus on recovery and certain things like cellular optimization. Um, I won't get too much into it here, but it is really important, especially for like energy levels, because a huge part of it has to do with the mitochondria, and stress and chronic stress, especially, has a huge impact on our mitochondria and also knock on effects on things like aging and inflammation and other such things. Um, but yeah, they also had these interesting graphs there where they actually said that they believe that the majority of adults in the United States, during their waking hours, during the working day, they're in a moderate threat level um, of kind of within the sympathetic nervous system dominance, meaning that during the day, they're not often getting into rest or deep rest, which is needed for that kind of restorative biology. So I thought that was really interesting. We see here in figure three that, when we're in kind of survival mode or like the stress mode, then we're not super focused on, or our bodies are not super focused on things like cellular restoration and optimizing itself. So it's actually very energy intense to be stressed and to not rest. It uses up a lot of energy that, and it may not be used very well if we're not actually facing a real threat. Um, but I'll try to get through the rest of these slides a little bit faster. This is about how rest is important for good mental health. So, kind of the knock on effect of how it's good for our physical health is it also is good for our mental health. So, it results in less stress and anger and depression and anxiety and calmer state of mind and better mood and outlook on life. And then from there, that actually contributes as well to it's better for helping us be present and clear headed. So it helps us with focusing and decision making and awareness. This leads into the fact that it becomes also important and good for creativity. So helping with writer's block and generating new ideas and insights. Um, and again, that kind of focus aspect can help a lot with that too. Um, and then from there, because it helps us be more clear headed and make better decisions, it means that it's important for, our interpersonal relationships. When we're more well rested, we are more mindful of what we say and of other people's feelings. And we're more compassionate because we're not in survival mode and we can build stronger relationships. Now, so this is a quote from the Creating True Peace book. So, to be helpful to others, you have to give yourself permission to practice for yourself. You cannot neglect yourself. And this is also in reference to rest. So, to go over how we rest, it's actually quite interesting because there's this suggestion that there's 7 types of rest based off of this book called Sacred Rest, and it's been cited a lot since it's come out. So, the 7 kinds of rest and examples of how to do it. We've got physical rest, mental rest, emotional rest, sensory rest, creative rest, social rest, and spiritual rest. So, beginning with physical rest, I mean, that's a little bit straightforward, but we have passive kinds of physical rest. We've got good quality sleep, napping, laying down, and resting your muscles. But then active rest, we also have restorative activities like yoga and stretching, massage therapy, and leisurely walks. For our mental rest, that includes things like meditation, short breaks, hobbies that let your mind wander. That could be like knitting or gardening or going for walks. And then like having like a notepad or a journal to capture, like any thoughts that you have at bedtime when you can't sleep. Then for emotional rest, that means allowing yourself to feel and express emotions healthily and authentically. So that means being able to be honest about your feelings, even having like the courage to be honest about your feelings and to step away from emotionally draining situations and also to seek support, from friends or family or professionals if needed. Sensory rest is kind of, when you get really overwhelmed from your devices or even lots of fluorescent lighting. It's easy to get kind of sensory overload. So, the way to help with that is to turn off electronic devices and unplug, especially at night when you're trying to get to sleep. And then closing your eyes can actually help a lot to help reduce the sensory information. Then, yeah, dimming the light sometimes and embracing quietness and enjoying nature all help with sensory rest. Mhm. Then we also have creative rest, which involves engaging with beautiful things in the world like nature, art, and music. Social rest means limiting your relationships that exhaust or drain you and instead spending time with positive and supportive people. Spiritual rest includes things like meditation, prayer, community involvement, and connecting and engaging with something greater than yourself. So that's kind of where you'll find this sort of like external meaning. Um, and then in my personal experiences, I found that some of these things help a lot and they kind of go under lots of different aspects of rest that we talked about. But my final thoughts on this are that without rest, many elements of personal peace are very difficult to sustain, and that deeper rest leads to a greater sense of inner peace. And there's also this aspect too of if we lived in a world in a society that had greater focus on rest, then maybe we would have a more peaceful world after all. Like people would be able to slow down and think more about what they say and how they behave, and it would just kind of we wouldn't be in survival mode or believing that we're under threat all the time because our parasympathetic nervous system would be engaged more. So thank you for listening, and I also have some works cited here as well.